Hi everybody and welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Kayla and today I'm going to be doing a bookshelf tour. I have 3 bookshelves, technically 4, but I don't really use the 4th one at all. 2 of them are behind me and 1 is right to my right hand side. I don't really have my books organized in any specific way. It's mostly just how I thought that they would look good on my shelves. A lot of it is by height, or I try to keep all my series together. I have a little over 200 books, which in my opinion isn't nearly enough, and my to purchase list is growing every day. I'll go through each shelf individually and show you the covers of the books and read off the titles for you. Also, I apologize if I mispronounce any authors' names when I'm trying to read them. It's just probably gonna happen, so I'm sorry. Let's get started. First up on my top shelf, I have the Matched series by Ali Condie. Matched, Crossed, and Reached. Next up on this shelf, I have the Delirium series by Lauren Oliver. Delirium, Pandemonium, and Requiem. I have the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me. The Legend series by Marie Lu. Legend, Prodigy, and Champion. Finally, on my top shelf, I have the Hush Hush Saga by Becca Fitzpatrick. Hush Hush, Crescendo, Silence, and Finale. I also have Iron Man on my top shelf. On my next shelf, I have this painting of an owl that I painted. Ah! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, we're back in business. Oh my god. Alright. My owl painting is not cooperating. Stay up. Ugh. Mr. Potato Head's gonna hold it up. Slammed by Colleen Hoover. Point of Retreat by Colleen Hoover. If I Stay and Where She Went by Gail Forman. The Giver, Sun, Gathering Blue, and Messenger, all by Lois Lowry. Okay. Ah, the owl painting is making its comeback. Mr. Potato Head Iron Man. I have the Twilight Saga by Stephenie Meyer, which includes Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, which is pretty and pink and with gold pretty writing, and I love it and it's beautiful, and my next tattoo is gonna be about Alice in Wonderland. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which is also pretty pink, nice binding, and I love it. Awaken by Katie Kakvinsky. The Program by Suzanne Young. Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire. Teach Me by R.A. Nelson. A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Forever by Judy Blume. Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This infuriating book by David Nichols, One Day. This is a nice floppy book. I love paperbacks that stay open when you tell them to. The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. This is also, oh god, I saved it. This is also a pretty floppy paperback. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Panic by Lauren Oliver. Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The Killing Woods by Lucy Christopher. Serena by Ron Rash. Down here on my sad little almost empty shelf, I have some of my nonfiction books. Growing Up Duggar by Jana, Jill, Jessa, and Ginger Duggar. Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Columbine by Dave Cullen. Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. Voices from Chernobyl by an author whose name I am not going to even try to pronounce. Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. This is like a really diversely different shelf, and I should probably do a better job of organizing these books because half of them are about tragedies and the other half are autobiographies by funny people. One More Thing by B.J. Novak. Is Everyone Hanging Out? Oh. Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me by Mindy Kaling. A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer. I have a little candle that I made here holding up my very few nonfiction books. And a giraffe, because giraffes are my favorite animals, and he's a badass. On the top of my second shelf, I have my Harry Potter collection, which I have actually several copies of the Harry Potter books, and I kind of just put whatever would fit on the shelf that made it look the best. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because I have 2 copies of the Sorcerer's Stone and 2 copies of the Half-Blood Prince, just to kind of make it look better as far as spacing and everything. And then the rest of all of my duplicate copies are on the bookshelf that I don't really use very much. I realized that almost everyone knows the whole entire Harry Potter series, but I'm still gonna go through them just because I want to go through all my books. First is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and last but certainly not least, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the illustrated edition. I actually just got this a few weeks ago, right after it was released. They are going to be releasing a new illustrated edition of each book for the next 7 years. They're going to release one a year, and I'm so excited to end up with the entire collection and the illustrated copies because the illustrations are so beautiful. And I just love it. I just love it. On the next shelf, I have a little bobblehead Iron Man. He protects my books. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, The Last Olympian, The Battle of the Labyrinth, The Titan's Curse, and finally, The Sea of Monsters, all by Rick Riordan. Next on this shelf, I have The Accident Season by Moira Fowley Doyle. This is actually a book that I just finished reading, and I'm going to upload a review on this one. That's going to be my next video, my first review video. Black Widow Forever Read by Margaret Stohl. I am so ridiculously excited about this book. I am a huge Marvel fan, and it's so pretty and beautiful, and I cannot wait to read it. I think it might be the next book that I read. The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Next, I have Aragon and Eldest, which is the one book, but 2 books bound in one. This is actually my boyfriend's book, and it's so frustrating to me because I want it to be 2 separate books, and we're going to buy them as separate books, but for right now, I just have them as one. And this is by Christopher Paolini. Brissinger by Christopher Paolini. Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book is especially interesting because it has the black pages, the black edged pages. The pages aren't actually black. Finally on this shelf, I have Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Currently, this is the only book in the Throne of Glass series that I have. I'm really looking forward to getting the next 3 in the series. I'm hoping to get them for Christmas because I've kind of put myself on a book buying halt because I've bought entirely too many books recently. I'm really excited to start this one. I don't think I'm going to start reading it until after Christmas so that I can kind of marathon through all of the books all at one time, kind of get through the entire series. Plus I have a couple other series that I'm hoping to get started before then, but I'm very excited about this book. And look at how pretty it is. It's so pretty. And it's not very long. I don't think it'll take me too long to read this one. I know that some of the later books in this series are massive, which is a little intimidating, but I'm still so excited. On my next shelf, I have The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick. The Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick. Another little tidbit of information about me is I usually hate movie tie-in covers. I'm just really not a fan. Most times I would rather have the original cover, but in the case of this book and One Day, which I showed you a little bit earlier, they did such a good job on the movie tie-in cover. I almost like it better than the original book cover, so I didn't really mind getting those ones in the movie tie-in edition. Plus, it's Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper, so come on. If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan, which is probably one of the books that I feel that I've read I think is the most underrated. I haven't really heard a lot about this book, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I sobbed like a baby. It was so sad, but it's a good book, and I really enjoy the cover. I think it's beautiful, and I think more people should read this book. An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. Paper Towns by John Green. Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. My non-tenure edition of Looking for Alaska by John Green. John Green is one of my favorite authors. I love his books. I have 2 copies of this book. I have the 10th anniversary edition in hardcover, and then I have this paperback. I'm not a person who generally goes out and buys a second copy of a book that I already own, but I saw it and it was in hardcover and it was so beautiful and I just needed it. So this is one of the few books that I actually have purchased 2 copies of. Taken by Storm by Angela Morrison. Every Day by David Levithan. The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. And that's all for that shelf. On my next shelf I have The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, also known as J.K. Rowling. It's Joe. Joe wrote this. Across the Universe by Beth Revis. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is actually a book I picked up the first in the series. It's like a really super long series. I think there are like 16 books in it, I want to say. There are 14. I was corrected. There are only 14 books in this series. My boyfriend and I are going to read it together, but we just haven't quite gotten to it yet. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Entwined by Heather Dixon. Origin by Jessica Cowrie. Graceling by Kristen Kashore. The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. The Help by Catherine Stockett. Memoirs of a Teenage Amnesiac by Gabrielle Zevin. A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Jumping Off Swings by Joe Knowles. Perfect by Natasha Friend. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. For One More Day by Mitch Albom. And Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Pregnant Pause by Han Nolan. On my last shelf, on my second bookshelf, I have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. Gone by Michael Grant. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. In Too Deep by Amanda Grace. Beloved by Toni Morrison. Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Wicked Lovely by Marissa Marr. Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. Uglies by Scott Westerfeld. Pretties by Scott Westerfeld. The Vampire's Assistant by Darren Shan. The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. Othello by William Shakespeare. My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. Lovesick by Jake Coburn. Marked by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. A Very Simple Crime by Grant Jerkins. The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. The last book that I have on my second shelf is Fingerprints of You by Kristen Page Madonna. And at the top of my third and final bookshelf that I'm going to be showing you today, I have my Cassandra Clare books, starting with City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, which is the last book in the 6-book series of the Mortal Instruments. And it's gigantic. It is a monster of a book. Then I have the Infernal Devices series, also by Cassandra Clare, which are Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. I also have the Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, which is all about Bane and his backstory, from what I understand. I haven't actually read this one yet. And I'm really excited about this book also. On this shelf I have a lot of really great books, but I also have my little mini Baby Groot bobblehead, which I love very much. He's the dancing Baby Groot, and he's adorable. And I found him at Barnes & Noble the other day, and I had to have him. And I'm so excited about him. The first series that I have on this shelf is the Hunger Games series. Oh no! Little mini Baby Groot. The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, all by Susan Collins. Next up, I have the Divergent series, Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, all by Veronica Roth. I also have 4, which is a companion novel. It's a collection of 4 short stories told from the point of view of the character 4. Next, I have The Empty Sleeve, that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. My boyfriend is currently reading this book, like, as we speak, so all you get is The Empty Sleeve. Sorry. Hollow City, and the last book, Library of Souls, all by Ransom Riggs. Next, I have The Name of the Star series by Maureen Johnson, The Name of the Star, and The Madness Underneath. Finally, on this shelf, I have the Mara Dyer series, The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, The Evolution of Mara Dyer, and finally, The Retribution of Mara Dyer. Next shelf, all by Michelle Hodkin. On this next shelf, I have most of my hardcover contemporary books, starting with Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and Eleanor and Park, also by Rainbow Rowell. Just One Day by Gail Foreman, Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, Stolen by Lucy Christopher, and I lost my dust cover to this book, so it's just naked. Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. My special 10th year anniversary edition of Looking for Alaska, which I am so in love with, and it's so pretty. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I don't know if I actually said that Looking for Alaska is by John Green. I know I said it earlier, but just your friendly reminder, Looking for Alaska is by John Green, as well as The Fault in Our Stars, or Tiffios, whatever you want to call it. I seriously considered buying this book in the special collector's edition, the silver one that you can get at Barnes & Noble, but I didn't, but I still might. Next on the shelf, I have The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler. My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. The Probability of Miracles by Wendy Wonder. Room by Emma Donahue. Lastly on this shelf, I have Rainbow Rowell's Landline. I'm going to do these next 2 shelves just as a continuous stretch because I'm already sitting on the floor and I'm not going to get any lower, and it's just not going to happen. First on this last duo of shelves, I have Rules of Attraction by Simone Elkelis. I have The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks, Jacoby by William Ritter, Winter Girls by Lori Halse Anderson. I also lost the dust jacket to this book. If I Lie by Corinne Jackson, Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks, The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks, A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. This is my cat. Reggie, look at the camera. This is my cat Reggie. The Art of Fielding by Chad Harbach. The 20 Boy Summer by Sarah Oakler. Willow by Julia Hoban. Love Story by Jennifer Eccles. Perfect Chemistry by Simone Elkelis. And Chain Reaction, also by Simone Elkelis. What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. And Dreamland, also by Sarah Dessen. The Maze Runner by James Dashner. The Hate List by Jennifer Brown. Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. Zoo by James Patterson. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The Adventures of Robin Hood by Paul Creswick. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. 1984 by George Orwell. The Odyssey of Homer. If We Kiss by Rachel Vale. Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer. Going Too Far by Jennifer Eccles. I have both The Hobbit and The Return of the King in mass market paperback by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have Dear John in this weird mass market hardcover type thing. I don't really know what to call this, but it's Dear John by Nicholas Sparks. I have New Spring by Robert Jordan in mass market paperback. It's part of the Wheel of Time series that is what I am going to start reading with my boyfriend at some point soon, hopefully. I will be buying this in the regular paperback because I'm not really a big fan of mass market paperback. I don't really enjoy reading them, but we have this one. And finally, the last book I'm going to show you today is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. Thank you guys all so much for watching my first YouTube video. I hope that you liked it. Keep an eye out for my next video. Like I said, I think I'm going to do a review on The Accident Season. It'll be up soon. I will see you next time. Bye!